Hi guys, this is Anthony again, Terrell on YouTube. So I get the feeling I need to make more videos because people want to see that sort of thing. So this is for Chaz's giveaway. There's been a number of giveaways recently, but I can't qualify for a number of them, which is probably just as well. But this one is the most valuable lock in your collection. We'll have a very small collection, and you might be thinking, gee, those don't look like locks in front of the camera. That is correct. This is a hodgepodge of stuff that I have sort of accumulated from going through various houses over the past 10 or 15 years. Basically, if it's small, I can take it home and try to put it somewhere, and it kind of has an old kind of kitschiness to it, then I grab it. So this is pretty much all I have, so it's not like a ton of stuff, but anyway, so yeah, that's a collection of stuff, none of which are locks. So actually I was driving earlier today, and a lock flashed into my mind that I was like, oh, I think I have a lock like that. It's like it's broken or cut on the left side. I'm thinking, did I have that? Is that like, from a long time ago? Did I imagine it? Did I see it and I wasn't able to grab it? Because a lot of these houses we clean out, so if you don't get it right away, it just gets thrown in the dumpster with everything else. So, which as I think about it, there's probably a ton of wonderful locks that have been discarded over the years, but whatever. Anyway, so I was thinking of this lock actually, and I didn't even know what kind it was, but I remembered that it was cut on the left side, and at the time I was like, why would I even take that? But it's more that it's sort of an older lock. And it says Slaymaker, which some of you probably already recognize this brand of lock, but I'm new to all this stuff, so all I knew is it looked old and kind of nifty. I kind of wish in my mind it had been kind of cut further up, but yeah, so I guess it's the most valuable lock in the sense that it's one I think I've had for a number of years, and it's probably the oldest one I have, and I got it myself in my travels, so that's kind of nifty rather than like ordering it on eBay or something like that. So yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's certainly the neatest lock that I have. I've never tried to pick it. It didn't even occur to me. I just grabbed it with the rest of this stuff. But I will, one of the things I overlooked in my lock lab tour was these warded picks that I got that had been jammed so far down in the pocket that I didn't even see them. So I'm not really sure the best place to store them. I don't even know if this is a warded lock or whatever. I'm just gonna poke it in here and see if something happens, and I don't even know what would happen, to be honest. If I really cared, I did consider trying to research this on the internet. Something twiddled there, but and I'm not even sure what would happen. I guess this would sort of pop out, but I thought, what would be the fun of that? If I researched it, I mean, realistically, if I ever had to defeat such a lock, you bet I'd research it. But for some kind of lock fiddling camera thing, which people seem to want, I thought, you know what? Let me just try fiddling around here, because I have no idea what I'm doing. Bosnian Bill makes it look plenty easy, that's for sure. But actually, when I was very young, super young, I actually curved the end of a paper clip and picked what now I know must have been a warded lock, and I thought that was pretty nifty. But I later kind of figured out that really only works with cheap, small locks, so I kind of nipped that idea in the bud. So I'm not having much luck here, as I expected. I could go down the list here. It sure would be kind of cool if something happened, but why not? I'll try them all, so before I give up. And I think, I'm not feeling a lot here, but it would be nifty. Yes, and then I have a couple of other things after ooh, wait a minute, hello, hold on. Something, that's interesting. Something is catching. I don't know. I would expect this to pop up, but that's more progress than I honestly expected. Huh. That is interesting. All right, not so bad. I will fiddle with that later, and if I actually do get an open out of it, I'll probably refilm it as a follow-up or something like that. But that was pretty cool. Anyway, a couple other things. So there's that. The most secure lock in my collection is probably this Lotto lock that I just got recently. And it's I was actually kind of surprised after hearing about how secure they were, and it's the only secure master lock that exists, or the most one of the more secure master locks. I thought, geez, this thing must be like $50 or something, and it was like, I don't know, $7 or $8 or something. So this is kind of nifty. I've never had a lock that kind of, with this kind of signifier safety lockout, and of course I understand what it's all about. I think it's actually kind of cool that it's not spring loaded and it is key retaining. But I think the meaning is, you actually have to, and there's only one key, of course, but you actually have to make a real effort to open it. Like someone has to, it's not just going to pop open by accident. It just requires an affirmative effort, which I think is pretty interesting. So that's kind of cool. And I don't even know, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6 pins, which is pretty nifty. So, and some okay bidding on that. So anyway, so that might be the most secure in my very small collection. Yeah, so I guess that's the most treasured one because I picked it up in my travels. That's the most secure one. And lastly, a couple other things. This I probably picked up in some random location in my travels. If you held a gun to my head, I'd say maybe wherever the heck I got this clock from, but I couldn't even tell you where that was. But I feel like they came from the same place, but I could be totally wrong about that. But they're pretty darn rusty. But yeah, it's kind of cool. The one that is most interesting to me is this one, which kind of has a square head. Maybe that's, well, obviously, I guess that's kind of like the key equivalent of a square screwdriver. But yeah, so that's kind of cool. No idea what I'd ever use those from or even why I grabbed them, but it's kind of nifty that I did. And then lastly, recently, because I kind of really started getting into this over the summer, so we went to Quebec City, which was actually kind of awesome. And I was just getting into this whole locksport thing. I think this might have been just after I had taken that lockbox off of the property and started with the bypass, and I mentioned in one of the previous videos, and just started to get into the videos, Lockpicking Lawyer, Buzzing Bell, the rabbit hole. And so I said, all right, you know what? I'm going on vacation. Well, I'm on vacation. Instead of collecting random things like shot glasses or whatever people collect, my random thing will be locks. So I'm going to, if I go on vacation somewhere, which would be kind of cool in general, if I do, I'm going to look for locks and try to pick up some interesting stuff. That'd be cool. Well, this idea only sort of formed in my brain. Really, I think I was watching videos at various points during the week of vacation, and the idea of trying to buy a lock probably really only occurred to me on like the second to last day. So consequently, we had already seen like 90% of what we wanted to see, and there wasn't much left. So basically, it was the morning of our departure, and there had been a pawn shop kind of across the street from where we were staying, the Airbnb. And so I went in there, and I didn't speak much French, but I did say, hey, I used Google Translate. I said, I'm looking for a lock, and eventually they understood, or they got someone who could understand, and they basically said, no, no, we don't have that, go away. And so I said, what do you have? Do you have anything related to that? And so they had a bag full of keys. And I said, well, you know what? Okay, good enough. Doesn't have to be a lock. Does that say Samsonite? Yeah, I guess that's a luggage key. But it's a collection of various keys. This was the one that has the label on it. I don't know. Maybe they came in separately and they just kind of I'm not sure why, if this label was for this key. I forget. I think they gave it to me for like 20 Canadian bucks or something, the whole bag, which is probably vastly overpriced, but whatever. I guess value is in the eye of the beholder. So anyway, that was kind of cool. So let's see. No idea what that is. It could be like a warded pick. I'm guessing this goes to some kind of small lock. I've never seen a key like that, but I'm sure it exists for a reason. I guess that's a type of warded lock is what that would be. Same thing with that. What does that say? Gen X or Cheney? Cheney. Oh, maybe Dick Cheney makes keys. No, it's probably not him. Patent something Samsonite. This is, I guess, a handcuff key. I have no idea what that is. That is, or maybe that's to wind something. Maybe that's like a, I don't know. Yeah, I'm guessing it's to wind something. Anyway, thought we already did Samsonite. All right, I feel like we're redoing some of these. Let's see. That looks just kind of like, I don't even know what that is. That's some kind of, I don't even know what that is kind of key. I wish I could read it. The light is a little hard to see. Washington? Not even sure. Anyway, this video is already long enough. I won't make you suffer through that. Okay, more warded. You know, in my mind, before I started going through these keys, these were actually much more interesting. Now I'm seeing it's just a collection of warded type keys. That's kind of, yeah, I guess that's another warded one, but that's kind of an interesting forked end there. All right, well, it was much more interesting before I started, when I didn't know so much about keys, because now I see it's mostly just warded lock keys, but so the romance is a little bit off, but that's kind of funky. Probably not supposed to be bent like that, but I think it's nifty. And I'm not bending it back with my hand, so yeah, still pretty cool. Actually, these bigger keys remind me, there was an art museum in Quebec City that had some old prison cells. I guess parts of it used to be a prison, and these giant keys remind me of that. And you could go in the cells, and that actually... is that a key jackknife or something, or jackknife key? I have to say I don't know what this is. I hope I don't have to go get the lube because it's not handy. Oh, that is, okay, that is interesting. So the whole thing is on a plastic thing, zip tie, and it's keeping this from coming out. I'm guessing this is not a knife. This is a key that folds back on itself. And I don't feel like cutting Yale in town, so that is interesting. That makes me wonder what kind of key that is, and actually want to research it at some point. So, yeah, pretty nifty. Yeah, I will have to research that and maybe post it on a future video. Anyway, collection of stuff, including a couple of locks, and that is good. So thank you very much for watching, and stay legal. Yeah, that sounds good. Stay legal and stuff. All right, thanks. Bye.